Welcome, everyone, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Thanks for tuning in this Monday evening. I'm Jenny Sanders, also known as Jenny Almighty, and I will be with you for 2 hours along with our very prevalent and predominant host, Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is, as recently has been pointed out to me by a very high-level professional, the queen of magnesium as she is. But you know what? She is the queen of so much more, and she absolutely is the queen of Dr. Dean Saved My Life. There's a lot of those happening now, too, because people out there, if this is the first time you're listening to our show, you know that you've struggled with your health. You've been to a lot of places, talked to a lot of people, and for some reason can't get it right. And then all of a sudden you pop in with Dr. Dean, and bam, everything starts to line up. And what is that alignment about? That alignment is about the fundamentals of what Dr. Dean knows, which is the basic building blocks that are required at a cellular level to assemble your body in such a way that it functions optimally. And so this is what we do every Monday night. Not only do we share the good news about who Dr. Dean is, what she's discovered, what she offers, how she supports that by bringing her very own person to the radio for 2 hours every single week to answer all your questions. We're going to take your phone calls. We're going to read your emails. But also what we do is we share the good news, the inspirational wisdom that comes from Dr. Dean, the things that she knows beyond those building blocks, the wisdom that she has for the body-mind connection, how to work with your emotions, how to work with this environment, how to work with food, diet, exercise, everything, bringing it all together. It's holistic with a capital whole, and she's completing it with her own life, her own journey, and her own wisdom. And, of course, I will remind you that Dr. Dean does not give medical advice on her radio show, but what she does do is she'll talk with you one-on-one about what she would do if it were you, if it were her, in your circumstances. But you know what's great about that? Is she's just going to tell you to do the basic natural things that everybody requires, because everybody needs those basic building blocks. Everybody needs some good sunshine, some good fresh air, and everybody needs a good laugh every once in a while, which is why her husband Bob will hang out with us every once in a while, popping in. So we got a full show for you for the next 2 hours, and we're so happy to have her with us. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Yay. Thank you, Ginny. I just love it. I'm starting to put down these phrases every week. There's something new. The queen of Dr. Dean Saved My Life. That's a good one. And holistic with a capital whole. My gosh. Where do you come up with this stuff? It's awesome. Thank you, Ginny, once again.
You're welcome.
Sidekick.
It is the truth. That's easy. It just comes from the truth, which comes from the universe, and all of life bears witness to it. So it's easy to do.
Thank you again. Okay, Ginny, grab some words from Magnesium Miracle for her blog this week. Good choices. We have a lot of mailbag questions, and a lot of them are repetitive, so we'll be able to get through them. And this is very important, magnesium and osteoporosis. When you look at the statistics, they're trying to say that 1 out of every 2 women will have an osteoporotic fracture, for Pete's sakes. I mean, they're just lining everybody up against the wall, pulling out the guns and shooting you in the head, because your head then gets concerned about, oh my gosh, I better be careful. I better tiptoe around for the rest of my life so that I don't fall and break something. And this is just horrible. The manipulation of our thought processes that goes on with this type of pronouncement. So, I mean, we're here to tell you it can be different if you follow the advice of many people. Ginny starts out by quoting PhD Dr. Susan Brown, who has a website called Better Bones, and she's been promoting magnesium in her formulas for a long time. Of course, she doesn't use the right magnesium. and she doesn't use the right calcium, but that's okay. She's trying her best. And what she says, and the blog starts out with, and the blog you can find at drcarolyndeanlive.com to follow along. Ginny pulls these words from Magnesium Miracle. Did you know that there are approximately 17 nutrients essential for healthy bones, including magnesium, the most important mineral, along with calcium? Susan Brown, PhD, Director of the Osteoporosis Education Project in Syracuse, New York, warns that the use of calcium supplementation in the face of magnesium deficiency can lead to a deposition of calcium in the soft tissues such as the joints, promoting arthritis, or in the kidney, contributing to kidney stones. Dr. Brown recommends a daily dose of 450 milligrams of magnesium for the prevention and treatment of osteoporosis. Now, you may wonder what 17 nutrients she talks about, and of course you'll find them all in our complement formulas. Dr. Brown does have a product, and someone asked me about this product. In a container of 30 pills, the serving size is 8 pills a day. So that's going to last you, 3 days? 3.5 days. And what is the price? Sorry, Dr. Brown. Price is $59.95. And what you get is some vitamin A, some vitamin C, D3, vitamin Ks, non-food-based B vitamins, but she has a couple methylated, and then calcium carbonate, which is chalk, magnesium as carbonate, citrate, and aspartate. I don't recommend aspartate. And she has zinc, which is in Remite, but the minerals she has are dirt minerals, and we do have them all in Remite as fully absorbed, stabilized ions of the minerals. She has the boron, as we do. And then there's the, I think she has some amino acids, which we have in our restructure, for example. So it's sort of all the words. You're buying the words of what would help with osteoporosis, but if they're not absorbed, how are they going to help you? And that's what we're saying. I mean, anybody in the world can write something and say, yes, you need all these nutrients, go out and, go forth and take them. But if you're not taking ones that are absorbed and the body wants to utilize and is able to utilize, I mean, you're no further ahead. You are just buying words and eating words. So continuing the blog, women with osteoporosis have lower than average levels of magnesium in their diets, according to survey reports. This is U.S. Department of Agriculture reports. This is not just sidebar people. These are real surveys done on large numbers of people. Continuing, magnesium deficiency can compromise calcium metabolism and also hinder the body's production of vitamin D, further weakening bones. If you don't have magnesium, you can't put your inactive vitamin D into the active form. That's it, period. You can take your 50,000 units of horrendously high synthetic vitamin D and force a little bit of activity and get your blood levels up a bit, but you take your blood in another month or two and the levels are down again because magnesium was never there to do the job. In the 2012 edition of Magnesium Miracle, Dr. Dean outlined 7 critical factors in magnesium's multifactorial role in the structure and function of healthy bones. And this is amazing what magnesium does, and I'll go over the 7 and just say that these are 7 functions of the 700 to 800 different enzymatic processes in the body that magnesium does, which makes it so critical and crucial and helpful to the whole body. people will get in touch with us and say, I have this spasm and it's not gone away yet. I've been on the products for, I'll get to one question. I've been on the products for 12 months and I haven't had a spasm in 3 months, but I got one yesterday. Why isn't magnesium, why isn't your Remag working? So it may be in some people that magnesium is saving your life in another area and trying to build it up in your heart, and it'll get to that spasm that you have now every 3 months instead of every few days. So the 7 factors that magnesium provides to your bones is adequate levels of magnesium are essential for the absorption and metabolism of calcium. 2, magnesium stimulates calcitonin hormone that helps to preserve bone structure and draws calcium out of the blood and soft tissues back into the bones, preventing some forms of arthritis and kidney stones. 3, magnesium suppresses another bone hormone called parathyroid hormone, preventing it from breaking down bone and causing high levels of calcium in the bloodstream, which then leads to calcification. Magnesium converts vitamin D into its active form so that it can help calcium absorption. 6, magnesium regulates active calcium transport. 7, it's also important to mention that vitamin K2, along with magnesium, plays an important role in helping direct calcium to the bones where it belongs. And then what about calcium? As noted above, magnesium stimulates the hormone calcitonin, helping to preserve bone structure by drawing calcium out of the blood and soft tissues into the bones. This action helps lower the likelihood of osteoporosis, some forms of arthritis, heart attack, and kidney stones. If you're taking lots of calcium and not much magnesium, you're susceptible to these conditions because there isn't enough magnesium to stimulate calcitonin. I mean, the body's like this incredible orchestra, and you have to have all the parts in the orchestra to play the tune. Moving on. Almost half the population of the U.S., including 70% of adult women, uses dietary supplements containing calcium. In general, we absorb less than half of the calcium from our food. Supplements are even less absorbed. Calcium carbonate has a 4% absorption rate. The excess is responsible for an increase in calcification in the body. Calcium causes constipation and builds up in soft tissue where it can harden, calcify, and the sites of calcification include artery walls, the kidneys, gallbladder, muscles, and breast tissue. And the artery walls, I mean, that's your carotid arteries, your coronary heart arteries, and your renal kidney arteries. You can also calcify your bladder. You can calcify your arteries to the point where your arteries are like these rigid tubes, and we'll get to a question later on where if your blood pressure can drop because your arteries are tense with calcification, and that's problematic. Continuing on, recommendations for calcium intake vary greatly. In the U.S., adults are advised to take 1,200 milligrams per day over and above their intake through food and water. And women over 50 are told to take 1,500 milligrams. Adding to the load are many foods that are fortified with calcium, including orange juice, sports drinks, breakfast cereals. In the UK, the RDA is a much more sensible 700 milligrams a day. The World Health Organization recommends 400 to 500 milligrams. And that's why I recommend 600, just in the middle there. 600 milligrams a day of calcium in food as much as you can. If you can't get that 600 milligrams in food, then you add up your 600 by using our Recalcia, which is a stabilized ionic form of calcium that's fully absorbed, and it's not going to calcify you. Continuing, in 2011, a British medical journal meta-analysis sounded the alarm that, quote, risks outweigh benefits for calcium supplements, end quote. The study confirms that calcium supplements do more harm than good. They cause more cardiovascular events, such as heart attacks and stroke, than the number of fractures they prevent. In this study, there were 7 authors, and they expressed concern that with so many people taking calcium supplements, quote, even a small increase in the incidence of cardiovascular disease could translate into a large burden of disease in the population, end quote. And that even, they even go so far as to suggest that a reassessment of the role of calcium supplements in the prevention and treatment of osteoporosis is warranted. Now, I think the whole attack on or concern about calcium came around the time when vitamin D testing became more prevalent, and doctors, they dumped calcium and jumped to vitamin D. And here we go again on the merry-go-round of the latest fad cure that ends up with the merry-go-round crashing into the far wall and causing bone fractures because of the problems with vitamin D. You require magnesium to make vitamin D from the inactive form into the active form. When you take really high doses of vitamin D, you use up all your magnesium. So it's not available to take care of your heart and your muscles and your nerves. So vitamin D became the new sexy supplement. Everybody's overdosing on it, and we get the rebound of people coming to us with their vitamin D side effects. Continuing, it's a huge admission of failure of the main treatment for osteoporosis, the high-dose calcium supplementation. In fact, researchers in a study of postmenopausal women with high milk intake speculate that high levels of calcium in the diet may actually be a cause of osteoporosis and osteoporotic bone fractures. I was talking about this once on a radio show, and someone went to the fridge and looked at their orange juice and saw that it was heavily fortified with calcium, and they had no idea. The researchers failed to realize that it's not just high-dose calcium, but the lack of magnesium that's the underlying problem. So they can't give a blanket statement that calcium is bad for bones. Calcium is required for bones, but so is magnesium. The effectiveness and benefits of calcium in preventing and treating osteoporosis are enormously impaired in the absence of adequate magnesium. Magnesium keeps calcium dissolved in the blood. Too much calcium along with too little magnesium can cause some forms of arthritis, kidney stones, osteoporosis, and calcification of the arteries, leading to heart attack and cardiovascular disease. And I do think that a combination of dehydration, too much calcium, lack of magnesium is causing people to have this thick blood that doctors insist on treating with blood thinners that then cause heavy bleeding in people as a obvious side effect. When you thin the blood too thin and you have an injury, then you're going to bleed. Last paragraph. Yes, magnesium is required for healthy bones and teeth. 100 years ago, we enjoyed a diet high in magnesium with a daily intake of 500 milligrams. Today, we're lucky to get 200 milligrams. However, calcium in the diet has never been higher. This high calcium and low magnesium diet, when coupled with calcium supplementation, can give a calcium to magnesium balance of 10 to 1 or even higher, which constitutes a walking time bomb of impaired bone health and heart disease. The ratio should be 1 to 1. 1 part magnesium, 600 milligrams, 1 part calcium, 600 milligrams. Get your calcium in your diet. Get your magnesium using Remag. The 600 milligrams is 2 teaspoons of Remag. Some people, such as myself, had to be on 4 teaspoons for a year and a half before I felt I was fully saturated, which to me meant that I could skip a couple of doses and not get a return of a little thump of my heart palpitations. Over the year, I certainly felt better. It's not like day one I had, chronic heart palpitations, and it wasn't until day 365 that they were gone, I was getting better all the time. I knew I was on the right track. I was getting saturated. But then I would have times where I'd eat too much yogurt, get too much calcium, and get that little thumping started. And I knew that the calcium was neutralizing my magnesium, so I needed more. And this case history I'll follow with immediately describes the situation with dairy intake or calcium intake in the diet. Using your product since December 10th, 2018, and I calculated it's only 12 weeks. Last night I drank about a cup of whole milk for the first time in over a year. Calcium seems to be my issue. I can't take, what did she say, kefir yogurt or whole milk. But since I'm up to 4.5 teaspoons of Remag now and 2.25 teaspoons of Remite, I figured less than a cup of milk shouldn't hurt me. Wrong. I was shockingly awakened at 2 a.m., jumping out of bed with an inner thigh cramp. So what does that mean? It means she isn't saturated enough to deal with that extra calcium. She did say that she's gone on the keto diet, uses organic heavy whipping cream, a tablespoon, and a half tablespoon of organic butter in her bulletproof coffee. So she's doing some dairy and getting a little bit of calcium there. And with that keto diet and this bulletproof coffee, she says her sugar cravings have gone away. She says my right big toe is getting less numb. For what reason, I have no idea. I've already written back to her, and I said, well, numbness, tingling, anything to do with the nerves or the muscles is magnesium deficiency. Blood glucose levels are better than expected. So obviously she's having improvements. So then she said, can I detox my body of calcium? Will that solve my problem? I Googled you and asked that question, and you recommended Epsom salts and magnetic clay baths. Now, you can do that, but what we have to do with someone who may have had decades of magnesium deficiency is be patient. And it's going to take more than 12 weeks. There are already improvements, so that's awesome. Congratulate yourself on that, and just keep taking what you're taking, and stay away from the dairy. I had to stay away from it for pretty much that whole year. But now, look at me. I'm on keto, and I'm eating, it must be a quarter cup of heavy whipping cream a day on my berries, and I'm doing cheese and all kinds of dairy products, and without a problem. And, okay, we've done sort of the first almost half hour. I'm going to go into the questions, but I'm going to stop and ask Ginny if I've left anything out because, well, actually, let me say this. This will answer a lot of questions. What am I saying? And I think I said it 3 times already, but 4 is the magic number. 600 milligrams of Remag, but you may have to go to 900 and even 1,200. And don't be afraid of that, and don't be mad at us because of that. We're just trying to give our experiences with ourselves and with our customers that some people are so deficient they need a lot of magnesium. I know the Remag bottle label says the maintenance dose is 1 teaspoon. Well, you go to maintenance after you do therapeutic. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to say the word therapeutic on dietary supplements because the FDA says that magnesium is not a drug unless we claim that it is. So 600 to 1,200 milligrams of Remag, 600 milligrams of calcium in your diet. You can get some calcium diet lists, calcium food lists, I should say, on drcarolyndeanlive.com in my Remite book. And then the rest of the nutrients, you do need the Bs, so that's Realign. You need food-based vitamin C. We're coming up with that in another month or two, but you can order a whole food vitamin C on the internet. There are not that many good companies, but you can find it. The amino acids you can get in our Restructure, and of course the RNA reset drops. They pull everything together in a miraculous way. Ginny, I'm pulling you into the fray here. What have I left out?
Awesome. And nothing other than, if you follow this protocol, you could come in to the vortex with a symptom like osteoporosis, or maybe you had a not great bone density scan, but then you can start this protocol to address that kind of an issue, but in the end you're going to stay on it because you're going to feel so much better. And magnesium does so many things beyond just the bones. I mean, the sleep that people get, the improvement in their heart function, the improvement in their mind and their brain function, I mean, it's just so incredible. So there's the overall health benefit too that we just want to emphasize as well.
Right. And as I think you started out the show with, or maybe it's in the blog, that you also need the exercise, seriously, in order to keep your bones in the turnover of breaking down old bone, replacing with new bone. You need gravity. You need the gravity pull on your muscles of movement. I've said many times when the astronauts first went into space, they all came back with osteoporosis because they were in a gravity-free environment. So get out there and start walking and start moving.
Hey, Carolyn?
Yeah, Bob.
You are enthusiastic about jogging.
No.
Yeah, so don't mean people have to go jogging, just walking.
Right. All the studies on osteoporosis and exercise shows that just moving your body, walking, swimming not so much because that's a little bit of gravitylessness, Tai Chi, yoga, all these things that put a stretch of your muscles on your bones is going to be helpful. And don't be afraid of exercise. I mean, as I was, kind of sarcastically saying at the beginning, people get so immobilized with the fear of breaking a bone that they're afraid to walk and all the rest of it. They're afraid to get out there in nature. But anyway, exercise is very important. A diet is important. Sugar is going to strip your body of the things that you require to make your bones healthy. Everything goes together, and that's why we're always talking about creating the building blocks and the balance.
From what you were saying, I remembered this pattern. I think you said they went from calcium, they dropped that, and they went to vitamin D. Then they're going to find out that's a problem, and then they're going to go look for another magic bullet.
How about curcumin and turmeric, Bob, where someone was haranguing you today that they'd rather take curcumin than Remag.
Or C60. They went on about something called C60.
Yeah.
I think it's named after Bucky Fuller. But the thing is, the pattern of our culture, of the West, of the scientific literature tradition, is to look for the specialist fallacy of a magic bullet for getting the ecology of your system, the equilibrium. And that's all you're doing. Well, it's not all. It's a good point is that you're not falling for the specialist hit that comes up. Fed.
Right. And I'll just finish that thought with the curcumin turmeric is very high in magnesium. And some of us feel that's one of the reasons it works. And yes, okay, go ahead, take curcumin turmeric, but do not forget your magnesium because it's going to do 700 to 800 things, and who knows how many things curcumin does. I don't need curcumin because I've got my Remag saturation.
Yeah, take your Remag, not magnesium citrate threonate and whatever other ones there are out there.
Okay, on to the radio show mailbag. Ginny, will I go there?
Yes, excellent, please. Thank you. And also just let our people know that are holding 602-666-6027 is the number to call. And if you're on the line holding, we'll start taking phone calls here in just a bit. Hit *5 on your keypad to raise your hand in the studio so I know you're on the phone to talk to Dr. Dean, and we'll put you on as soon as we get through a couple of these questions. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I'm 72 years old, have osteopenia, do not drink milk, and take 1 stick of mozzarella cheese daily. I take 1 teaspoon of your Remite and 1 teaspoon of your Remag daily. So what do we know already? Not enough. And she asks, is that enough? She weighs 115 pounds, small boned. What should I do for calcium intake? We have the answer, 600 milligrams, either diet, or Recalcia. 1 mozzarella stick, make some bone broth, eat dark green leafy vegetables. Maybe you'll get 400 milligrams, and take a teaspoon of Recalcia. Next question. I read your book, and it has really helped my entire family. Thank you. I've been taking magnesium now for about 4 years and could never seem to catch up. Then I tried your picometer magnesium, Remag, and what a difference. The problem I'm having is that I have an allergy to gluten, and she said she got into gluten, and then she now says she's craving calcium in amounts of 1,500 milligrams or more with about 1,000 milligrams of magnesium. Now, I don't know how you crave calcium, and I didn't send a query back to her. And she says she can't tolerate dairy products, so I have to take a calcium supplement. She says if I don't take the high amounts, I cannot sleep, and I get horrible leg cramps that do not respond to more magnesium by itself. I'm concerned. So she would just go to, and I don't mean just, but she would go to Recalcia to get her calcium so that she wouldn't be building up calcification because of poorly absorbed magnesium. Poorly absorbed calcium. And I'm saying magnesium because she says she's taking 1,000 milligrams of magnesium. Now, our Remag comes in 300 milligram doses, so I don't know if that means she's taking other forms of magnesium and not Remag. So get back to your Remag. And the thing about gluten, it can irritate the intestinal lining, so this might be a transitory problem. You'd be looking at taking extra soil-based probiotics to balance that out, balance out the gut. Next question, I'm taking Dr. Susan Brown's Better Bones Builder supplements, also taking Dr. Dean's Remag, 3/4 of a cap. We know that's not enough. Bone density was stable 2 years ago. She said she got tired of swallowing the 8 tablets. I already told you that this $60 supplement has 30 capsules or tablets, and you're told to take 8 tablets a day. She says she's taking additional D3, 400 IUs. So I told her it's too much. And she says, I'm so afraid of changing, but I'm not sure if maybe after so long on Dr. Brown's supplements, that's time to try something new since I'm having issues with trying to take 8 tablets a day. So I think we've given enough information already. She did say her vitamin D was very low, and now she's 35. I say 30 to 40 is a perfect area to be in, a perfect level. So hopefully that's enough information for you, Carol. If not, write back a specific question. Next question, my dad is 61. When he stands up after sitting for a period of time, he's experiencing dizziness and has to bend over for several seconds before it goes away, especially after walking up a flight of stairs. He's been to the cardiologist. His heart is fine. He was referred to a neurologist and told him that he was fine. And they said this condition is only an annoyance that he'll have to live with. And the doctor explained that the nervous system is so complicated that the doctor doesn't have any answers or solutions. We are unsatisfied with this answer. I'd love to hear if you have any input or recommendations. Okay, Crystal, here it is. When you stand up either from lying or from sitting, and you experience dizziness, probably your blood pressure is going down. I don't know if you've taken that, but it implies the adrenals aren't shooting out a bit of adrenaline to tighten up the blood vessels to propel the blood to the brain. The second thing is there can be calcification of the blood vessels, as I said earlier, making them somewhat rigid so that the blood drops to the legs. And then there's the magnesium deficiency can cause an underactive autonomic nervous system leading to low blood pressure and poor circulation. Some people think magnesium, if you take it as a supplement, will lower the blood pressure even further in this type of case, but slowly increasing magnesium will actually treat the problem and improve the blood pressure. The last thing of condition that the doctors can't explain is POTS, P-O-T-S, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Now, you didn't say whether his pulse went up at the same time, but there are cases of that where the blood pressure drops and the body just kind of gets a bit freaked out, and it starts increasing the heart rate to try to push the blood pressure up and to push the blood into the head. So this is a type of underactive autonomic nervous system problem where it can be caused by magnesium deficiency. So the treatment, of course, is taking magnesium and slowly enough that it won't cause a rebound effect of even lower blood pressure. Just have to slowly take your magnesium and get the building blocks to heal this condition. Now, this next person says, I have a high heart rate. Does this relate to a shortage of magnesium? Yes, it does. The body's trying to push things along with a higher heart rate. It can be because the adrenals are weak and you're not getting that adrenaline push to tighten up the blood vessels, so you depend on a high heart rate to do it. So yes, more magnesium, more Remag. And then it's Bren. She says, if there is calcium buildup in the arteries from too much calcium, will the buildup reduce after adding more calcium? No. I think probably she means after adding magnesium. Yes, the magnesium will solubilize the calcium that's in the wrong places and drag it over to the bones. Next question. Thank you. I agree with your blog. I quit taking high doses of calcium years ago as it did nothing for my bones. I use magnesium, vitamin D, and K2. Hopefully the vitamin D is less than 2,000 units. There's a lot they do not know about bones and new info that's helpful too. Thanks for sending. Next question. I have a hip bone density of minus 3.5. Now, the way density works, bone density, is they say a normal, healthy, young person, maybe 20s or 30s, has a bone density of 1. And then they do a standard deviation measurement going below the 1. A minus 2 would be getting a little osteopenia. And then minus 3 to 4 is you're getting quite low bone density. So the doctor wants to put her on Fosamax. Now Fosamax, the way that works is it kills your ability to restructure your bone, remodel your bones. What they think is, well, you got these bone cells making osteoblasts, they're called, making new bone. Good, leave them alone. But then you've got osteoclasts that break down bone. Oh, well, let's kill those. Not realizing that the osteoclasts, they remodel the bone, grab the calcium and the 16 other nutrients and make new bone. If you don't have that going on, what happens is the calcium just slap dab attaches to your bone in a way that makes the bone very brittle. So now we've got a problem, and it's an FDA black box warning on Fosamax and the other bone density drugs, that if you're taking Fosamax, you can't have dental work because your jawbone is so brittle. Your dentist won't work on you if you take these drugs. So what does that tell you? That your bones just aren't structurally sound anymore. And this person with the bone density problem says she doesn't want to take the Fosamax because they do not rebuild bone and the side effects are more than she can handle. She said she had a car accident and cannot do stress exercises since her ankle no longer works. What do you suggest so my hip does not get worse? Been on Remite for 6 months. And she says it's not stopping the bone deterioration. Well, 6 months may be too short to know, and I don't know if that means you had a bone density test and there was no improvement, but you do need exercise. There are ways that you can exercise without using your ankle. You can get a rowing machine, and where you just place your feet in the boots or in the supports, and you just row. You press with your thighs, and you work your arms. You can sit on a rebounder. You can swim. You can do exercise, and you have to do exercise. Don't give up. Don't give in to this, and try to find an awesome person who does myofascial release to release your ankle scarring. Just a couple more questions. Wondering if I'm taking your Miracle Magnesium, do I need calcium and what type? I think we've answered that with the Recalcia and or 600 milligrams of dietary calcium. Next question, you recommend we drink water enhanced with Himalayan salt to serve as an electrolyte. Can we substitute electrolyte enhanced water such as Smart Water in replacement? I did not look up what's in Smart Water. I doubt if it has 72 minerals. So I would definitely, I'm sticking with the sea salted water, Himalayan salt water. This next question, I've been diagnosed with severe bone density loss. Now this woman is minus 4.3, and as I said, if you're 3 to 4, then you're in bone density. I hate saying the words like severe or serious. You can have low bone density and be doing just fine because your muscles are strong enough to keep it all together. We can't be brainwashed by bone density. We have to look at the whole picture. Keep your muscles strong. In the magnesium book, I talk about some South American country where, and I wish I could find a study, please find it for me, where 30, 40 years ago, they tested a group of women, young women for their bone density as they were carrying these huge jars of water, through the mountain passes and all. Went back 30 years later, found some of the same women, and their bone density was lower, but they were still doing the same work, carrying the jars, still healthy. And what were they doing? A lot of exercise. This person, Barbara, says, I'm taking Remag now, the goal being 1 teaspoon a day added to 2 liters of filtered water. Although I fail to get that much water daily, I feel best all over when I do. So, yeah, please don't fail. Barbara, you owe it to yourself to take half your body weight, measured in pounds, take that in ounces of water and put in the sea salt. And think about more than a goal of 1 teaspoon a day. That is just maintenance. And the FDA makes us just put the 1 teaspoon on the Remag bottle, but you may want to go up to 2, 3, and even 4 teaspoons with this type of bone loss. She said, when I started hearing and reading about the importance of vitamin K2 and magnesium, I cut back to 3 capsules daily of calcium and vitamin D, et cetera, et cetera. So that's good. And she said she's reasonably active, dancing 4 to 6 hours a week. That's awesome. Walking and hiking, so she's getting her exercises, so her muscles are in good shape. And my goodness, Jenny, we're going to have to find some sort of measurement of how you measure a person's overall muscle and bone health, and how that protects them, because this is amazing. We'll talk to people we know who have worked with calcium and find out what more we can do to reassure people that if their muscles are strong, then maybe they don't have such a serious problem and shouldn't have to be afraid. Last off-topic question, but it's interesting. A dermatologist has me using ketoconazole shampoo. That's an antifungal shampoo and cream, 2%. It's not controlling her dermatitis, and he responded that she'd have to deal with this for life when she inquired how to get rid of it. It's spreading to her cheeks and down the back of her neck. Okay, so what's happening there is yeast overgrowth. What you can start doing for the head and face and neck is using coconut oil. Rub it in and leave it in not long, 10, 15 minutes, and then wash it out. And also get my yeast book, free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com. Reset the Yeast Connection. Very likely it's yeast overgrowth that's making its way to your scalp with the yeast toxins and all. So that's all the questions. Thank you very much for listening to them all. It saves me a couple of hours of having to answer those by email. Okay, Jenny, over to you for the last few minutes of the first hour. Let me take a drink.
Okay, yes, and the questions always help everybody, because everybody has, the same. If you hear something enough too, I think that's the other thing, and the more I listen to the things that you're saying, the more I realize how all-encompassing everything is, how it does work together at that cellular fundamental level, and it can explain why such profound health recovery is available to so many people, as is documented, just like our friend Claire on the chat line. Dr. Dean saved my life. So let's see. Kelly has a question, and then we've got callers. So let's actually get to some of our callers who've been holding since the beginning. Let's try to at least get one call in before we have to go the next hour. So let's go to area code 804. 804, you're in the great state of Virginia. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
This is my first time, so I'm not sure I know what I'm doing. You can hear me,
name?
Though.
We can hear you very nicely. What's your first name?
Ivana.
Ivana. Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Do you have a question?
Well, recently I talked to Don last week, actually, and I ordered a bunch of Remag and Recalcia. And Doug is, I can't say enough great things about Doug. He's wonderful.
Thank you.
So when I'll get the product, I guess I will need to call back to find out exactly how to use it, because I'm not sure. I don't know if it comes with information in the mailing.
It does, Ivana. It does, because this is not our first rodeo. We know what people want. We know what they want to hear and what they want to know. So it's all written out. But at the same time, we have awesome customer service people who walk you through it. So it'll be written out. You'll read it, maybe make some notes, and then you can phone up. What we tell people is just to go really slowly. You're going to start with a 1/4 teaspoon of the Remag in your water and just sip it through the day. That's as simple as we can make it. And
okay.
the reason
how much
why,
water? I'm sorry, in how much water?
Well, you can we like you to put it in a whole liter of water or a whole quart of your drinking water. And that way, you sip it through the day. That way it slowly gets into your cells, and it's certainly not going to overload you. So that's it. That's what you'll do.
Okay, I believe Doug also mentioned that I can put the Recalcia in the same water with the Remag. I do have osteopenia. How much should I start with the Recalcia in the water with the Remag?
It's the same thing, really simple. Start with a quarter teaspoon, and you're going to work up to maybe 1 teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons, and that depends on whether or not you're eating calcium in your diet. Do you eat dairy products, Ivana?
I try not to.
Okay. Then you may need the whole 2 teaspoons of the Recalcia, and that you can put in with the Remag. So it's very simple, and the reason why we work with the liquids is because they're so much better absorbed. And these particular minerals, they're stabilized ions of the minerals, and they go right into the cells, and they do their work. And you may be wanting them for your osteopenia, but they'll, like Ginny just said, they're going to help with sleep and with energy and with 100 other things.
Or in the water that I'll be drinking, can I put the Himalayan salt in it, and how much of it?
Yes, yes, for sure. We'd like you to do that. You're going to put 1/4 teaspoon of the Himalayan salt in each liter of your drinking water.
Okay. What's the best water to drink?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. We tell people to try to filter out the fluorine and chlorine in some way. That's why, most waters these days are filtered, and that's why we like people to take the sea salt in the water to get back the minerals. Okay, Ivana, are you good with that information?
I'm great.
You can call back anytime, and you may not always get Doug, but actually, if you're on the West Coast, Doug is our West Coast operative.
I'm in Virginia.
Oh, you are. You said that, right. Well, you can phone Ginny and ask when you can talk to Doug again, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm sure all your people are great, and I thank you so much for having this call. This is wonderful. I'll try and be on it every week.
Oh, that's wonderful, Ivana. Good to have you come in, and you did very well for your first call. Congratulations.
And I'm almost 80 years old, so I can use all your information.
Oh, good. Yeah, Doug probably sent you to the websites and everything. So, yeah, congratulations. You sound like a very young 80-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Okay, excellent. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on achieveradio.com. I can't believe the first hour's almost up. I hesitate to put somebody on the phone, so we'll just callers will pick you up at the top of the next hour. And let me just read this question out from Kelly really quick, who said, can I take the Remag, the Recalcia, and the Remite together in the same water? I hear that the 600 milligrams. Yes, but I hear 600 of magnesium and calcium optimal. What is the optimal dose for Remite?
Good question. Yeah, we stick with 1.5 teaspoons, Kelly. But if you're taking 4 teaspoons of Remag, I will put the Remite up to 2 teaspoons.
Very good. Excellent. Very good. Carolyn, I was shocked today to see, we can just talk about this for 30 seconds. On my Instagram, it came through that Luke Perry died at 52 of a stroke. Would we say magnesium deficiency?
Oh, my gosh, that's horrible. Luke Perry? Oh,
yeah, Beverly Hills 90210. I had such a crush on him. Yeah, 52 years old, I'm thinking stroke, never recovered, definite magnesium deficiency.
Well, I mean, there's that, but all these guys and girls are on so many drugs, uppers and downers. When I was in New York and did morning TV, they would stagger in, and then they'd pop a few pills, and they'd brighten right up. These people are living the most horrific life of toxicity that you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And that type of brain stroke, it could be an aneurysm in the brain. But again, that is a magnesium deficiency. Okay, top of the hour.
Top of the hour. We'll be right back.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
AchieveRadio.com. Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The wellness scene with Dr. D.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Welcome, everybody, all of our listeners, including our dear friend Meg, who just typed in about Luke Perry. I couldn't believe it either. I had a crush on him, too. How could you not have a crush on Luke Perry? He was so cute. We're happy to have you guys back. We're going to take phone calls in this next hour at 602-666-6027, along with our talking to our wonderful Dr. Dean, and of course everybody on the chat line piling in and sharing their thoughts and comments, as well as our listeners who've typed in their email. So we have a full hour. Carolyn, are you ready to take some phone calls?
I'm ready. Oh, I'll take another drink. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Let's go to Bend, Oregon, area code 541. Bend, Oregon, you're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Ginny. Hi, Dr. Dean. My name is Beth. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I just discovered you about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm 64 years old, and I was diagnosed with severe osteoporosis in December with a T-score of minus 4.6. I'm thin, I'm small-boned, but I'm active. I shovel snow, I do all my own gardening, I walk every day. But I was under incredible stress for about 10 years and had a lot of death and issues going on. So my cortisol is out of whack, all that. So I think a lot of things kind of contributed to this. But the thing that I did know most recently is all the research I've been doing on this is that my magnesium I kept feeling was low, and that's what brought me to you. So I'm so grateful. I got the Remag and the Remite, and I started them, and I'm up to already 2 teaspoons of the Remag and about 1 of the Remite. I ordered some Recalcia. That's not here yet, but I ordered that because I don't do dairy. My body doesn't do well with dairy, but I do a lot of greens. But I thought I should probably do the Recalcia. So I have two questions. I actually have a whole bunch of them, but I'll only start with two. The first one is I could talk to you for days. The first one is I have an infrared sauna that I was told would be really good for my health. But then I was in it, and I was thinking, well, I'm sweating, and am I just sweating out all my minerals, and do I need to balance that in some way? So that's my first question.
Yeah.
Do I need to up my doses?
Hang on. What did you just say?
Do I need to? Sorry, something's
up
going
your
on
doses,
with her
right?
phone.
Yeah, I missed
yeah,
that
up
word.
my doses.
But let me just comment on how awesome it is that you started looking into your osteoporosis, and that's what we're talking about today. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I didn't really talk about it, so I'm glad you brought it up. Have you read enough of what I talk about to know I work with total biology, the conflict basis of disease?
No, I have been studying as a hobby. I raise money for nonprofits. That's been my world for the last 30 years. But since the 70s, I've been studying holistic medicine on my own because I think most doctors are just whacked. So I do know there's the mind-body connection, and I'm very clear on some of the things that have been going on with me that I've been working very hard to kind of clear and release, because I read that osteoporosis is a disease of hopelessness, and boy, I could so relate to that, just your bones crumbling out from under you. So all these things have kind of led me.
Is that what Louise Hay talks about, Beth?
Yes, actually, her. I think hopelessness may have been one of her words, but I've also just been. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in total biology, osteoporosis is about devaluation, where
It's so perfect. Keep going.
Bingo. Is that a bingo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what happens at the point where it seems in our allopathic diagnostic world that they discover osteoporosis? The body is in the healing phase of working through this. I mean, what would be very helpful, because with a T-score like that, their doctor's going to be all over you and, so concerned. But I'm not concerned. But what I would wonder, especially with the way you've been educating yourself through the decades, we have a referral that we use, Dr. David Holt. He's done a show with us. Last year we had a number of doctors on over the year. So I'll get Jenny to give you the date of that show. We'll send you the information, some YouTubes, and also some books that give information on total biology, or things that are, I think, geared up from Louise Hay. We call total biology Louise Hay on steroids. And I think you'll appreciate what this is about, because as soon as you can turn off the brain from thinking there's a conflict of whatever, devaluation, being attacked, can't swallow something, someone not swallowing something, what are they going to do? They're going to get heartburn. So all these things that the body creates, they're not to attack us. They're not because the body's mad at us. They are trying to help us resolve something. So as soon as we know the body's on our side and that it's doing this in a protective way, but it's sort of a primal way that doesn't make sense to us intellectually. But as soon as you can sort of shift that, and you're ready. I mean, it'll only take one little nudge, and you'll be you'll be over this. So it can be just from what we send you, or consultation with Dr. Holt. We all love David Holt. He's helped so many of our customers and our staff that we recommend him unreservedly to help people just identify where I guess what their conflict is. You already know your conflict, so it's a matter of realizing, well, that doesn't necessarily identify me. That's not me. I'm done. I'm over it. Moving on. All that.
Yep. Thank you for that. Yeah. Oh,
yep.
I love you even more now. Thank you.
I just show off. Ginny will tell you I'm just a show off.
That's all right.
Bob
as long
will
as
tell
you're...
you that.
So what? Okay, so let's go. So thank you for that. The sauna. Should I up my?
Oh, the sauna. Yeah. Personally, I would not do saunas at this point in time. I have had so many people say they've been on this massive sauna regime. It sounds great, but then you really don't know what you're losing. So how do you know what to replace? What I tell people instead is to do clay and magnesium Epsom salt baths, the magnesium sulfate. Clay and Epsom salt baths. The clay we recommend is at Enviromedica, ENVIROMEDICA.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're getting with clay is sort of a pulling action, but there are also minerals in clay. What you're getting with magnesium is some pulling action and the absorption of magnesium. So it really is the better way to detox your skin than going in a sauna, which all it does is makes you sweat.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I got the sauna before I knew about the osteoporosis, and the reason I got it is because I'm pretty sure I have a lot of heavy metals from a number of reasons, and so that was the biggest thing on that. I know,
and they talk about. I don't see heavy metals being pulled out through the skin, but I'm not. I guess I'm not that much of a professional on saunas. But what we do for that, as you may have read, is our Realign, which has the building blocks for glutathione, and glutathione is what the body utilizes for heavy metal detoxification, along with magnesium. So they're going to give a much more gentle approach to detoxing.
Okay, I have the Realign, so I started. Boy, I took one of those and I could tell a difference. So if I want to take a sauna once in a while, then is that okay? And if so, just
I mean the heat shock aspect of the sauna. Maybe once a week. It's good to. It is a shock. I mean, think of it. You are putting your whole body. Maybe is it the head in or head out of the infrared?
Head in. Head in. Your whole body in. Yeah.
Yeah. It freaks your body out when you go so hot, and it starts throwing out all kinds of stress hormones and everything, and the biohacker people, they get all excited because you got all this movement and growth hormone increases and all this and that. But the people that come to us, most of whom have total body meltdown, I don't want to shock them. I mean, why would I even suggest that? Same with cold shock therapy, jumping into the frozen ponds and freezing yourself, and that is shocking the body. And shocking, as I said, the blood measurements they do, they can look all, very exciting, but maybe they're not measuring how much adrenaline it's using up, and how much of the things that you're just on the edge of, and how much magnesium do you use up for your body to deal with that massive stress. Anyway, I've said the word.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So okay, I'm going to bring you back to this again. If I do one, since I have it, and I do one once a week, do I raise my remite on those days?
I would. You may even see that when, after you're on your remite, remag, etc. for a couple of weeks and you do a sauna, you might feel a drop in energy, and I'm not trying to suggest that you should, but just assess yourself before and after and see how you feel, and then just experiment. And then you'll go and take some extra remag, remite, and see if it perks you up. So you'll prove it to yourself what it's doing.
Okay. A last question, because I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time, but the complement program, would that be good for me?
Well, we can give you a list of what's in there. I mean, a lot of our modules are available for free, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I think if you're probably a fast learner, it's probably better just to go to drcarolyndeanlive.com and download the 11 free books and start there.
Okay. And then the whey protein that you have, or the protein powder that you have, that probably would be good. I do protein now. I do like a hemp pea protein. I mix them. But yours has a bunch of other stuff in it?
Yeah, ours has a bunch of other stuff. It's people say it's the best, of course, but we think it's the best. But it's got extra lysine. It's got the RNA powder in it for that extra factor of detachment, and also helping your RNA make more perfect DNA. So there's something very, you'll like the RNA drops if you get them, or if you just do the restructure, you'll like the restructure.
Okay. The whey, there's whey in the restructure, and that has me a little concerned because I don't do well with dairy.
Well, what's interesting about our whey, it's organic, it's zero casein, so that's not going to be a problem, and it's very low lactose, so that people, including this person here, myself, who used to not be good with dairy, I've been eating restructure for years, and I'm fine. So, okay. I mean, what you can do, Beth, is order a couple of the single serving packets and try them first. We have those available for travel, etc. And that way you won't be stuck with the whole canister.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sure I will talk to you again. I just am so excited about finding you. This is like the best thing that's happened to me in a year. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love the excitement. And we love what we're doing, and you can tell. And you were apologizing for all the questions, but just like Ginny says, all the questions we get, I try to answer them in a general way so that everybody benefits. So I really appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Excellent. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on achieveradio.com. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We've got lots of callers. 602-666-6027 is the number to call. Again, that's 602-666-6027. And then once you've called that number, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will raise your hand and let me know you have a question or comment. Otherwise, your phone stays on mute, and you never do get a chance to talk to Dr. Dean. So, again, *5. If I haven't called on you yet, that's what you want to do so that you know you can talk with Dr. Dean. Quick question, and then we'll go back to the phones. Carolyn Lynn typed in and said, last week on your yeast overgrowth blog, Dr. Dean recommends avoiding fermented foods. I'm confused because so many people recommend homemade fermented foods to replenish good bacteria. Please clarify. Thank you so much.
Ginny, go to that blog and take out that sentence.
That you avoid, recommending avoiding?
Yeah, we don't avoid fermented foods. That we must have taken that from a way old blog.
Okay.
Fermented foods are good. Maybe I wrote it after I ate a cup of sauerkraut one day and felt worse. Who knows? But that is a stain on my record. Get rid of it.
Well, I think at one point you did say that some people can't do fermented foods because of the sugars.
Yes.
And you just said, like kombuchas and stuff. I mean, you pick up the label and look at it, and it's like 18 grams of sugar for 8 ounces of kombucha. It's not ideal if you're on a keto diet or if you have a super sensitivity. So I think you've always just said, pace yourself, try a little and see what the response is. And if you are still having a yeast response, you may have to eliminate fermented foods as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you started the fermented foods very low dosage. After I had that reaction with a lot of sauerkraut, I just started taking it by the teaspoon, and now it's a couple tablespoons in my salad. So, yes, I apologize, Lynn. We will wipe out that stain on my record.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, let's go to area code, where are we here? 917. 917, you're live with Dr. Dean.
Hi, this is David from New York. Thank you, Jenny. Hi, Dr. Dean. Dr. Dean, please say you don't consume pasteurized milk products.
I try to get organic dairy products, but I'm not as fanatic as I used to be, David. I really find that since I've been on all my formulas these past few years, I don't have to worry so much about all the horrors in the world. I mean, you know how much stress there is when you have to second guess everything you do and put in your mouth. But I'm sure sometimes I'm taking pasteurized. I try to get organic heavy whipping cream, but then you look at it and they have to pasteurize. So what am I going to do? I don't want to have my own cow, so I just bless my food, as Ginny says, and I assure myself that it's going to help me or make me feel good, and if it doesn't, then I just take more Remag.
Okay. To my next question, if I may. Anything about magnesium and anything about magnesium and gallbladder stone?
Well, the gallbladder, in the Future Health Now encyclopedia, I have a section on gallbladder. It's a little bit involved. There can be some calcification, but I think what I'll do, David, is have you downloaded my Future Health Now encyclopedia? It's free at drcarolyndeanlive.com.
No, I need to do that.
Yeah, do that because, I mean, everything I've ever talked about, I've put in the Future Health Now encyclopedia, and I just recently made it free because it just helps people. I can't answer all the questions over and over again, so it's in the books. So that's why, because you're a regular caller, I'll just tell you, go there, and then if you have extra questions after that, you can get back online and ask us. Okay?
Okay. Some complicated question about yeast overgrowth. You said that Candida is a yeast, right?
Correct.
Now you said that Candida mostly found in the large intestine, right?
It's supposed to live there to break down.
Okay.
dead material.
Okay.
But
All
the
right.
overgrowth I'm talking about is when it changes from the budding stage and into an invasive thread-like stage and grows up into the small intestine.
Okay. Now, is it possible, or maybe you were thinking about it, can we do something with enema? Since we do coffee enema, I know you do it.
Not so much with yeast, because it's causing more of the problems is up in the small intestine. And then, you have to be a bit concerned about doing too many coffee enemas. That are you throwing off the intestinal flora? Like when I do a coffee enema, I'll put in a capsule or two of prescript assist or a soil-based bacteria into a retention enema after the coffee enema.
Okay. I just add Epsom salt to my coffee enema to relax everything there.
Very good, very good. Okay, David, I'm going to limit you to 3 questions. Okay?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Very good. Bam, bam, bam.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, David. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Very good. On the chat line, Christine types in and says, can I take Realign if I have a sulfur allergy?
Well, they are sulfur-based amino acids, but does a sulfur allergy, do you mean the sulfa drug, or do you mean sulfur, such as you're allergic to Brussels sprouts and onions and garlic, which are sulfur foods? Because that's what we're talking about with these amino acids. They're like sulfur in food. So that's the question.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's a sulfa drug. That's right. Marv is asking, if Prescript Assist is not available, what's the next best? And that's Flora Revive, Marv, which is coming out probably sometime next month. We are in next month. Okay, so that's, I guess, April-ish. We will have the Flora Revive, which is Dr. Dean's probiotic. And she also is recommending Restore for Life. From Dr. Zach Bush. You can use that as well until you get the Flora Revive in. Right, Carolyn?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, excellent. Let's go back to the phones and area code 732, the great state of New Jersey. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, my name is Diana. How are you?
Good, but you sound like you're at the bottom of a oil well. Are you on speakerphone, Diana?
I am not. No, let me just see if I can raise my volume. One moment. Do you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's better. Not so echoey for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay. And by the way, I want to say I'm so happy that you are making these talks every week. Every week I learn something, and I take tons of notes. Thank you both, to you and to Ginny as well. I wanted to ask a question, with 2 questions actually. I'm taking probiotics, and I also take your Remag, Remite, and Realign. Remag, I'm now up to 2 teaspoons twice, 2 teaspoons a day, and then the Remite I'm taking about 1.5 teaspoons a day. My blood level in the calcium, my blood levels for calcium seem to be normal. However, it seems like my doctors are concerned because I'm considered like senile osteoporosis, so my numbers are very low. And so they put me on Forteo, and so I take Forteo. When I saw my metabolic specialist 4 months ago, he asked me to reduce the amount of vitamin D that I was taking, because I'm taking biotics vitamin D, and I was taking 4 drops a day. So he asked me to reduce that to 2 drops a day. But since then, I've now been taking the Remag because I guess the magnesium I was taking was not being absorbed. My question is, how do I actually reduce the amount of calcium that's in my blood so that way I'm absorbing more of the magnesium that I'm taking and the remite?
Okay, so I have some questions. The Forteo. Okay, no. First question, how old are you?
I am 60 years old.
Thank you. And did you have a bone density number that you were given?
I do. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was about -2 from my recollection.
Right. And -2 for age 60 is actually in the normal range. It's when you get down, lower, like 2.2, 2.5, that they talk about osteopenia. And the Forteo, I have no idea why you would be put on it so early.
Yeah, I've been taking it now for about 8 months, the Forteo, and the reason why I was put on the Forteo was because I've had issues with my bones on my feet. I've had 4 surgeries on my left foot alone because it looks like I was getting a bunion and my toes were crossing over. So I had to have the surgery, and then my doctor had to go back in and do further surgery on my left foot. And it just doesn't, I don't seem to heal very well on the left side of my body.
Right. So the Forteo, this is the parathyroid hormone drug, correct?
Yes, it is, yes.
And this is a drug that costs thousands of dollars?
Well, you know what? I'm not paying thousands of dollars because I can't afford it. So I actually have financial assistance with Eli Lilly, the company that manufactures the drug. So they're giving it to me for free. But I don't want to be on this for too long because I know that if you're on it for too long, it actually can cause bone cancer. So I want to get off it because I've been on it now for maybe 8 months, 9 months. I want to get off it like today, actually. I don't want to take it anymore. So,
right, and I don't mean to tell you not to. It's kind of a newish drug. I don't know a lot about it, but I didn't even know it can cause bone cancer. That's a horrible thing to hold in your head. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they say you can't be on it for more than 2 years because otherwise you can develop bone cancer. That's how serious it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful.
So, when we look then at bone density tests, just to prepare for today's show, I looked up some of the values, and as I said, the -2 is in your age group apparently normal. So they're looking at you about these bone fractures. It sounds like.
Yes.
Or bone.
Yeah, and yeah.
No, go ahead, Diane.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is, like, when I went to see my foot surgeon 4 months ago, he said I had developed a bone fracture in my big toe where he had actually operated on, and he says this is concerning for me. So because of that, he said to me, I want you to see a metabolic specialist.
Right. Okay, and is it just one foot or both feet?
Well, I actually had surgery on my right foot 3 years ago. But that one, after that surgery, I was fine. It was just the left foot. I had surgery 6 years ago first on my left foot. And then after that first surgery, what the surgeon did is he shaved the bone. I had a very small bunion, so he shaved that bone. Then about 2 months later, I just had a huge bunion. So he said to me, I need to go in again. And unfortunately, I should have gone to another surgeon, but I just went with him, and he operated again, and then he removed the hardware, and it's just one thing led to another, and I think I made a couple of mistakes myself because I should have actually realized.
I'm losing your voice.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I said I made a...
Put your mouth closer to your mic.
Oh, okay. I think what happened was when I went to that first surgeon, he operated on me, and he said, I need to go in one more time. So he went in one more time, and he actually tried to fuse the bunion. He tried to fuse that. and try to fix it. But then that led to other issues, and it's never been well since then. So now I had a very, very good surgeon in New York reoperate in May. My foot isn't the best right now, but it's better than it was before.
Right. Okay, so what we have to look at here is more about the conflict and the total biology rather than it being a -2 is in your age group is normal. 1 is for 30-year-olds, and maybe it's between -1 and -2 is normal. So they put you in an osteopenia. They're trying to squeeze out the possibility that the reason your feet are doing this is because you have osteopenia. Bunions don't come from osteopenia. They can come from conflict and then bad surgery, for Pete's sakes. So
right,
what are
exactly.
Feet, I just have things on flat feet and this and that, but I really think having a discussion with Dr. David Holt will help. You can't keep going on with these bones and going on this cancer-producing drug for the possibility that osteopenia is the cause of the foot problems. It just doesn't, there's no common sense in that equation.
Right. So you suggest that I can...
Let me just backtrack and for the FDA people that are listening that
yes, I know.
Do not go off your drug. Okay?
Okay, I'm not going to go off my drug, but I am going to talk to my doctor. I'm seeing my surgeon and the metabolic specialist in 2 weeks. So I will be addressing with them the fact that I really don't want to be on Forteo much longer.
Right. And look up this number. I mean, you don't know exactly what your number was, but look up. There are some medical websites that really push the numbers. But there are other sites that are more reasonable and say that -2 is just at the beginning of osteopenia. And email support@rnareset.com. We'll send you the total biology information and have a conversation with Dr. Holt before you step into the lion's den and hear from people who haven't got a clue about conflict.
Okay, I definitely will do that. By the way, one last question. With regards to probiotics, I now take a probiotic manufactured by Seed, and
I missed that word.
Seed, SEED.
Okay.
Seed. Is there? What do you recommend? Do you know?
Restore, Dr. Zach Bush's. I think he's got a liquid product. Yeah, Restore, Restore.
Okay.
And it's soil-based. It's liquid. It turns out that it's similar to our Flora Revive, but we're doing a soil-based plus Saccharomyces boulardii because so many of our people have yeast overgrowth, and that's the treatment for yeast overgrowth. Okay?
Okay, and when are you releasing that one, yours? When is yours being
released?
Next month. Okay.
1 more month.
All right, I'll stay tuned for that one. I'll switch to yours, definitely. Thank you so very much, Dr. Dean.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Have a great night.
And good luck. Let us know how that goes with Dr. Holt, and he'll have something amazing to tell you, I'm sure, about your bunions. Okay?
Okay. How do I reach out to him? Is there like a phone number that I should call, or should I call and speak with Doug? I know he's awesome.
You can ask Doug. He'll have all the information for you on an FAQ. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, great. Thank you, Diane.
So long. Thank you. You're welcome.
Excellent. Let's go to area code.
Jenny, let me just stop for a minute.
Oh,
let me
sure.
just stop for a minute and give kudos to Doug. He's got a fan base. My gosh, people last week and this week, all over Doug. It's so sweet.
Yes, that's very good. Everybody loves to talk to him. He has to book private appointments after hours to talk to everybody.
Oh, that's great. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let's go to area code 757. 757, you're on the line with, we did 757. Yeah. No, we didn't.
Hello?
Here we go. Hello, go ahead, please.
Hi, this is Sherry from Virginia. I just wanted to call in. I have a quick question and a quick comment. Dr. Dean, I bought your first Magnesium Miracle book, when it first came out years and years ago, and you were recommended by Dr. Circus, who is another magnesium lover. And then I saw that you had another book, so last year I purchased that on Amazon because you had made that newer version. I was skeptical because I was thinking, well, it's probably the same stuff, but wow, it is really an entirely different book, and it has so much more information. And I just wanted to thank you because it's just packed with information. And I know that you made Remag after, that book. So
yeah, actually, Sherry, I think we were having so much good feedback from the Remag, finally having a magnesium that was fully absorbed. We could get people on high enough amounts of Remag that they were, dancing around like a kid again. But, they were getting off meds and all the rest of it. It really reinforced the importance of a magnesium that people could saturate themselves with. And that's what's been missing in the whole mineral community is people just can't get enough without getting the laxative effect. And nobody's really pointing that out because obviously nobody has the product. And, I never thought I'd be in the product business, but as Ginny says, it's a public health epidemic out there. And we're trying to meet a really important need.
And I'm really looking forward to your sugar book when that comes out. And the funny thing is I don't have that many books on health, maybe about 20 or so, but when you had mentioned Dr. Jacoby's book on Sugar Crush, I was like, oh my God, I have that book. So I ran over to my closet and dug it out, and I reread that book again, and it's so important on the bad effects of sugar.
Right. And when I read the reviews on Amazon of his book, you'll get the ones from people who just don't have a clue. It's just so incredible how diverted medicine has been away from sugar being a bad thing. And when I read whose book is the big one? Ginny, who am I reading? The book with the noose on the cover?
The noose on the cover? Dr. Fong?
No,
I don't know.
This is Gary Taubes, T-A-U-B-E-S.
Oh, Gary Taubes, yes.
The Case Against Sugar. Oh, my gosh, Sherry. It's as dry as dust, but it talks about all the research and how incredibly political the research was, where the sugar lobby groups just paid off everybody all through the decades, paid them off for 50 years. And actually a while back I wrote a blog about how we had lost 50 years because the sugar companies suppressed a very important study 50 years ago that showed that sugar causes heart disease. And what they did is they diverted everybody away from that and said, oh, no, it's fat. It's got to be the fat. And that became the whole cholesterol and statin world, and don't worry about sugar. So it's very pivotal. Sugar is almost as pivotal as magnesium deficiency.
Yeah, and it's interesting that it took a foot doctor to put all these pieces together regarding neuropathies and chopping people's feet off. It just, he just brought everything together nicely in that book.
But I'd like to meet. That's one person I'd like to meet.
Yeah. So the one question I have for you real quick is I went ahead and purchased the RBC magnesium and had my blood drawn for that, and it came back at 5.3. And I've been on the Remite, and I got your whole Completely formula. I've had it now for about 2 months, and I'm just wondering, is that a good, decent level? I know you'd like to have it around 6 to 6.5.
Did you happen to do your RBC blood before you started, Sherry?
No, because I didn't know about it.
No. Yeah, it's hard to say, but 5.3 is good. I mean, I think it's average to, going toward the 6 and everything. It's hard to tell it just being one measure out of the blue. I mean, sometimes people will say to us, well, I've been taking the minerals for 2 months and my RBC magnesium is still at 4.2, and that's, what do we do about that? It's a function of where you started, where you're at now. I don't think it's a great test. We really have to encourage hospitals to get the ionized magnesium test. I'm on a bit of a mission to do that because we don't have the right testing. And serum magnesium isn't worse. RBC magnesium is not perfect. And I don't know where I've buried this information, but the red blood cells do not contain mitochondria. And you know that mitochondria, they have the Krebs cycle, that's their most important function, and 6 out of the 8 steps of the Krebs cycle require magnesium. So in body cells that have mitochondria, you're going to have your magnesium. Boom. RBC cells, no mitochondria. Where's the magnesium coming from? I don't consider it a valid test, but it's actually better than serum magnesium. So what am I supposed to do? It's like I recommend RBC magnesium as a way to follow your intake, but it's not the definitive test. It's such a precarious position to be in, and that's why we spend so much time on the radio and all my books and the customer service trying to tell people, look, how do you feel? That's the most important thing.
Yep, and that's what I was going to say. Just, I guess, see if your symptoms have improved as opposed to just focusing on the lab results.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, how many times have we been hearing that, well, the cholesterol test, there's how can we follow that and say it's got something to do with heart disease when we need cholesterol for our hormones? Anyway, all the testing is being skewed just to sell drugs. So how can you trust it all? So you follow, you sort of follow your patterns. You keep your blood tests on an annual basis and see if they're going up or down. I think that's one of the best ways to use blood tests.
Okay. All right, and just a quick shout out to Jenny. Thank you for supporting me online and answering some of my questions last week. Thank you.
Oh, yes, of course, absolutely.
Okay. Bye, ladies.
Thank you. You have a great voice, Sherry. You should come on the show with us and be a co-host.
I would love to.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, excellent. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. One of our people whose Mike says, why do some callers get limited to 3 questions in 5 minutes, but others can go on and on, no problem, maybe even 20 minutes? And they're welcome to talk. Not sure if
David phones in all the time. He loves the show. He's a great questioner. I know David, and I can tell him, okay, 3 questions. But if someone has been sick for 50 years and it's their first call, I'm going to take time. Do not judge me. Who's judging me, Jenny?
I'm not telling you their name now. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, that's cute.
Melody Rose, you get that in the transcript, Melody Rose. Someone called in and Dr. Dean said, do not judge me. Well, maybe we won't do that.
That's right. That's right. It's funny. It's funny. We have poor Mike. He's the new guy. He's trying to evaluate whether or not this is a good space for him or not. I guess whether someone calls in every week or they should be treated the same, but a repeat customer with questions and purchasing your products would be valuable in their weekly calls. And if I become a weekly caller after today, how would I be treated? Mike, come on, pay your dollar, take your chances, belly up to the bar.
Take your remag. You're being way too judgmental and irritable. Please, we are saving lives here. It's gee whiz, Mike.
It's you get to talk to a doctor at no charge who really actually authentically cares about you. But the thing that's interesting to me is over the years we've had so many callers who this show has been their lifeline. I think about Roman, I think about Kendall, I think about Ruth, who just called again last week. I mean, some people who are living in isolation and sickness and they don't get a lot of support from their family, or their family doesn't even really understand their symptoms because they barely do. I think about Melody Rose calling in from her literal deathbed, having been paralyzed from being electrocuted, and now she works for us. So I know you're trying to evaluate the show, Mike, but the best thing to do is just get the experience of doing it yourself. You'll find Dr. Dean is inordinately compassionate and very intuitive about what she does when she talks to people on the phone.
Yeah, I can intuit that I can say to David, okay, David, your time's up. But I'm not going to say that to a first-time caller. I mean, everything about this show is pretty intuitive, although I've never said that before.
Right. Well, I say it all the time because, I mean, I've seen you in situations on this show where I remember this one person in particular was a thyroid problem, and they were talking about the Remite and this and that, and then you just stopped and you said, well, let's talk about total biology, because in total biology, the thyroid is time, and are you struggling with time, like you trying to speed something up or slow something down? And she just burst out crying, and she's like, my dad's dying of cancer, and I'm trying to slow down time so I can have him with me as long as I could. And she just had like an uber cry on the phone, and then the next thing you know, she was feeling so much better, and she got that block moved. She found out what her problem was. She was able to solve the conflict. And that's all intuitive. And I think the thing, much let alone on the phone, but I think the thing that's so interesting is you go into a doctor's office right now, they don't even want to intuit how to spell an alternate version of your name. Was that with a G or a J? I mean, they just want to immediately send you for testing and find out what your stats are, so that they can, start prescribing their drugs, because they're drug and device people and they don't really have any other tools in their kit other than maybe sometimes a little bit of compassion. I understand that you understand, Mike. You're welcome to call anytime. Call now. Call this week. Call next week. Call whenever. But that's really what Dr. Dean is here for, is to, really support people. And and do her thing, which is very effective. Let me also just say that June asked, how do I contact Dr. David Holt? And his way of contacting is turnpointhealth.com, turnpointhealth.com, Dr. David Holt. You just go to his page. You can hit the contact page. He'll do a free setup with you. You email him, say blah, blah, this is my concern, so on and so forth, and then he'll kind of kick in and you can take it from there. Angelin typed in and said, my husband was on a bone drug for bone cancer, and it destroyed his jaw after tooth extraction. Jeez. It was one of the worst things he had to live through. Many dentists won't do any work on you, even if you've taken just one of those pills ever. I think she's talking about those pills we were talking about before that our friends at Eli Lilly in Indianapolis make, Carolyn.
And that's not Forteo, it's the Fosamax drugs. Right. Oh, boy.
Okay, not Forteo. Okay, very good.
A bone drug for bone cancer. Yeah, it's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, it's suffering that people go through. We are a giant experiment with allopathic medicine, but at the same time, allopathic medicine is saving lives. And so it's a constant juggle to figure out, well, is this going to help me or hurt me? And yes, we're here to sort of to try to give people answers of my 50 years experience in medicine. That's all.
Okay, very good. Mike settled down. He says, okay, very valuable information. I appreciate it. Okay, I understand now. Yes, this is much better than going to the doctor's office. So you're off the hook, Mike. Call in any time, and I swear we will not swarm you and take over. Lynn chatted in too, and she said, what's a yeast? Oh, that's Renee. What's a yeast response? Carolyn.
A yeast response? I don't know. I didn't say those words. So get back to me and tell me what you mean.
Okay, very good. Could have been some point in the conversation. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so we're caught up with our callers. We're caught up with our chat line. And where are we with our mailbag? Are we good with all that?
Oh, no, we got stuff going on here. I first purchased the audiobook of the Magnesium Miracle. Mind-blowing. It was meant to be, as I was originally searching for a self-development audio. I then purchased the Remag. My results, drum roll please, I have never slept so soundly and so deeply. The only difference in my diet was the Remag. I have not remembered my dreams in years. I now have wonderfully detailed dreams again. Truly amazing. I wanted all the minerals, so I ordered the Remite as well. And that's Cynthia. And thank you she said, I accidentally dropped some while putting it in my morning coffee, but remembered how it can be applied to the skin. No waste there. So I guess she just lay on the counter and absorbed it through her skin. Now, actually, Cynthia also says something about sending out a measuring spoon set or dropper with the order. Do we have those measuring spoons that we have available on the website, or what happened to those?
They're not on the website. They are in the warehouse. We use them for special promotions and trade shows and stuff, so we do have them.
Okay. So I don't know if we're going to be bothered selling them, but people can buy their own measuring spoons. Okay. Next testimonial. Like to pass on that my 11-year-old daughter has been taking Remag 3/4 teaspoon, Remite 3/4 teaspoon, Reline 1, Blue Ice Royal 1, and the soil-based probiotic and sea salted water every day for almost a month. She's been prone to fever blisters, and they have usually lasted a couple of weeks. The other day she awoke with a red bump on her lip. She feasted on tiramisu the night before. I immediately started giving her your Pico Silver, about a teaspoon every hour, and the next day it was down and already looking like it was going away. Wow. Now that's awesome. I used to get the fever blister cold sores on my lips when I was a kid, and it was like the plague. So that is awesome. She says, this same email, who's it from? Long. I can't even get to the. Okay, she said, with my last order, I showed my daughter the Restructure recipes. I told her Restructure has lysine, which helps with fever blisters. She wanted to try Chad's recipe with blueberries. She made it and loved it and wants it every day. Love your products. My latest testimonial, the same woman. I've had acne since puberty. I'm 39. Started taking Remag October 2018. That's just a couple months ago. A month later, began the rest of the products. Did the yeast reset in December. Had some sugar here and there in the holidays. So no change with my acne. This last month, I was super diligent with it and eating keto. I did the maximum amount of antifungals, weekly enemas, and now my acne is gone. It is so wonderful. It's been weeks now and nothing. I'm so happy and relieved. Thank you 1,000 times. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that yeast is the cause of acne. At least it was for me, and sharing your yeast protocol. It worked like a charm, and so fast I have to add. Look at that. 30. Well, okay, so she started getting acne when she was 10. It's like 29 years of acne gone in a month. And see,
wow.
What she said, she was on the yeast protocol, but she was still eating sugar. It was over the holidays. Who wouldn't? And then being super vigilant. And see, it's like you get to the bottom of the problem, you get to the base of it, you clear things out, and then I'm sure periodically she can indulge and doesn't have to be that fanatic. But I mean, I'd continue to be fanatic if it meant I wouldn't get acne back. Also, I've been dealing with shingles, she says, since 2006. Since then, I've tried everything to relieve myself of this virus. I've dealt with it so many times, I've got it down to a science of supplements and topicals, etc. But since taking all your products, and it's just since October that she's been taking them, she's not having them anymore, because I hear our ending song. I might say this again next week. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, callers.
Thanks, Ginny.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you,
Thank
Ginny.
you, everybody. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Till next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
AchieveRadio.com.